Today, the United States has a full embassy at the Vatican. American presidents meet the Pope. Roughly 70 million Americans, 1 in 5, are Catholic. The world treats this like it's always been true. The first time a sitting U.S. president officially met a pope was 1919, 130 years after the country was founded. Right now, Trump is calling the Pope weak and wrong on live television. Everyone is saying this is unprecedented. Maybe it isn't. America was built on one founding principle. No outside power gets to tell Americans what to do, not the British king, not European nobility, not the Pope in Rome. Most of the founding population was Protestant, and to them, Catholicism wasn't just a different way of praying. It was a foreign organization headquartered in Rome, run by a man who claimed authority over governments. The fear wasn't theological, it was practical. What happens when your neighbor answers to someone in another country before he answers to this one? The Catholic immigrants came anyway, Irish, Italian, Polish, arriving in massive waves through the 1800s, and American society made very clear they were not fully welcome. In 1834, a Catholic convent in Massachusetts was burned to the ground by a mob. In 1844, 2 Catholic churches in Philadelphia were set on fire. People died. In the 1850s, a political party called the Know-Nothings, whose platform included barring Catholics from public office, won 52 seats in the United States Congress, not a fringe rally, elected officials. In 1919, Woodrow Wilson became the first sitting American president to officially meet a pope, 130 years after the Constitution was signed. In 1960, John F. Kennedy stood in front of a room full of Protestant ministers in Houston, Texas, and said out loud, "I do not speak for my church on public matters, and the church does not speak for me." A presidential candidate had to prove his religion wasn't a threat. Kennedy won. In 1984, Reagan's administration established full diplomatic relations with the Vatican. Today there are ambassadors, joint statements, presidential visits. The official story is that America grew up, opened up, and the two became allies. That is the official story. In 1834, a Catholic convent in Massachusetts was burned to the ground by a mob. In 1844, 2 Catholic churches in Philadelphia were set on fire. People died. In the 1850s, a political party won 52 seats in the United States Congress on a platform that included keeping Catholics out of public office. America is supposed to be the country that invented religious freedom. It's the First Amendment. It's the whole origin story. People came here specifically to escape religious persecution. So here is the question. The men who burned those churches, were they really just a fringe? Because fringe movements don't win 52 congressional seats. Someone voted for them, a lot of someones. A store can put a sign in the window that says, "Everyone is welcome." That doesn't tell you what happens once you walk through the door. The relationship changed in the 20th century. Catholic immigrants had become a political force. Kennedy got elected. And then in 1984, Reagan made it official, full diplomatic relations with the Vatican. The story is that America matured, the old prejudice faded, and the two sides naturally grew closer. But look at the timing. The 1950s, the Cold War, the Soviet Union is America's greatest threat, and the Vatican is one of the loudest anti-communist voices on the planet. The church behind the Iron Curtain is actively resisting Soviet control. Suddenly, America and the Vatican have a common enemy. 130 years of distance, closed almost overnight. When a neighbor who hasn't spoken to you in 130 years suddenly knocks on your door, there are 2 possibilities. They finally came around, or they need something. In 1960, John F. Kennedy stood in front of a room full of Protestant ministers and had to say out loud, "I do not speak for my church on public matters, and the church does not speak for me." A man running for president had to prove his religion wasn't a foreign threat. He won. The country moved on. Case closed. Now it's 2026. Trump is calling the Pope weak and wrong on live television. Everyone is saying this is unprecedented. But Kennedy had to defend his loyalty to America over Rome in 1960. Before that, churches were burning. Before that, Congress was voting on whether Catholics should hold public office at all. Angle 1 showed us the fire, Angle 2 showed us the timing, and now here we are again. A dam doesn't destroy the river, it just holds it back. When the dam weakens, the water doesn't go somewhere new, it goes back to where it was always going. We started with the official story. America and the Vatican are allies, tens of millions of American Catholics, presidential visits, a full embassy, the relationship is normal. But what we actually saw was a country that burned Catholic churches, elected a party that wanted Catholics out of public office, waited 130 years to shake the Pope's hand, and only closed that distance when it needed something. We saw a presidential candidate in 1960 who still had to stand up and prove he wasn't an agent of Rome. Now Trump is attacking the Pope, and the word everyone keeps using is unprecedented. So here is the only question that matters. Is this the first time America has turned on the Pope, or is this the first time in a while?